Good morning, East Shore.
Good morning.
My name is Christine, and I am the chair of the Board of Trustees this year. I would like to extend a special welcome to any newcomers who are with us this morning, and I encourage you to spend time getting to know us. If you would like to be on our mailing list, we invite you to sign up at the greeters table, and you will find additional information at the back. Our greeters are happy to answer any questions that you have. Thanks for joining us online as well. Please join us for coffee and conversation in the back of the sanctuary. We are back to yellow status, so we're masked indoors, and we can still have coffee hour indoors, which is kind of distance as we're eating. If you have not already done so, please turn off or silence your cell phone or other electronic devices. Check out your order of service for any announcements. And I'm going to start with whether you ran in here today on little feet or walked in briskly or ambled in or rolled in. You are welcome here. Whatever the flags of your heritage, you are welcome here. May you find new things to revere. Whatever your religious background or lack of religion, you are welcome here. May you find new things to discover. Whatever your political persuasion and whomever you have grown to love, you are welcome in this religious community. May you find a connection here.
Good morning. Good morning. Come into this place with your whole self, the parts that are raw and exposed, the part that is beaming with joy, the part that is seeking the truth, the new, the possibility. Come into this place, open your heart, lay down your burden, lift up your hope for something new to happen. Come into this place with fellow travelers on a journey, some faces new and others familiar, and all welcoming you here now to this moment. Come, let us worship together. Please rise if you are willing and able and join us for hymn number 1008 in the teal hymnal. Ember, would you do us the honor of lighting our chalice today? We light our chalice today with words by Erica A. Hewitt. The chalice, as a symbol of Unitarian Universalism, arose as a beacon of hope in an atmosphere of tyranny. The chalice arose as a sign of promise that the marginalized would never be forgotten or ignored, because they are beloved and precious from the perspective of the holy. This morning we remember all of the people who have been told explicitly or implicitly through police violence or government policy, through derision or dehumanization, that they're anything less than whole, anything less than beloved. As we each light a chalice, here or in our homes, may we make of our lives a beacon, a symbol of our promise to draw the circle wide, a sign that we will not rest until all means all. One of our ways we choose to come together each week and be in community is to pause and recognize our joys and concerns, to honor both those that we may be carrying in silence and those which we have chosen to share aloud with one another by writing in this book, which sits on a pedestal in the narthex. Maggie is sad to report that Akila crossed the Rainbow Bridge on Tuesday. She was 16 and a half, and they shared a wonderful life together. She will be missed. Rose Bush is officially an old fart as she celebrated turning 60 on July 13th. If you took a stone from the narthex, or have brought one with you, hold your stone in your hands. Feel its weight and strength and surface against your palms. We will have a moment of silence where we hold up these joys and sorrows, remembrances of loved ones, celebrations and struggles.
Inside of me and see that I am not afraid to walk inside the void like a kid inside a cave, discovering the patterns of my soul and where it's placed. I've been mapping many caverns, but it still feels like a maze. I know I'm made of clay that's worn, blinded by a perfect form, but I will trust the artist molding me. I am creation, both haunted and holy, made in glory. Even the depths of the night cannot blind me when you guide me. Creature only, Look inside my heart and find a perilous ravine. Carved within the beauty, the darkness in between. Standing in the balance of complete and incomplete. I identify the that is and what will be. I know I'm made of clay that's torn, blinded by imperfect form, but I will trust the artist molding me. In a room that's growing dim, illuminated from within, the pull of tensions, empathy. I am creation, both haunted and holy, made in glory. Even in the depths of the night cannot blind me when you guide me. I am creation, both haunted and holy, made in glory. Even the depths of the night cannot blind, 'cause what comes, creature only. Creature only. Growing through the creature here, I'm trying to see when it's unclear. Hidden in the space between hero and the enemy. Early days and sleepless nights, death and resurrection light. My body is a sacred note, sung between the flesh and hope. My dirt transformed within a breath before I took a single step. I'm looking forward to the day when life can grow without decay. Humanity is not alone when Jesus Christ is on the throne. With hidden edges in the mess, a selfish turn to selflessness. Haunted by a darker side, transcends to walking in the light. And slowly I'm recovering the beauty of discovery.
Hi, I was asked to write a reflection about safe spaces. So, safe spaces are incredibly important to the development of the brain and upholding mental health. My personal experience with safe spaces has a lot to do with my gender and sexuality. Without the supportive environment provided by my parents, I would probably still be in the closet today. There are a few different types of safe spaces that I can think of. The first kind is where everyone is different, but accepts and is kind to everyone else. All that's really required is to just listen with an open mind and accept the person, or accept the other people. The other kind is where everyone has something in common, be it big or be it small. It's generally something that sets them apart from the rest of society. I found the former in friends and family. Being able to get an understanding of different things and different people, but loving them the same. The second I found at summer camp. I go to a summer camp, particularly for genderqueer youth. My first time attending this camp, I'd never seen, probably still haven't seen so many trans people in one place. For the first time since coming out, the fact that I was born in the wrong body didn't matter. And I didn't have to explain myself or describe what living with dysphoria feels like or being queer in today's society is like. Because they all knew. They've all experienced it. I'm not saying that everyone should have this kind of space all the time. In fact, I think too much time in this kind of space would blind people to the beauty of diversity and differences. But, so I think a good healthy mix of the both, where there's difference and beauty and change in different people like this congregation. But we're still all here to listen to each other and accept one another, is incredibly important. And without safe spaces, people are receiving the message, either purposely or subconsciously, that they are wrong inherently in some way, shape, or form. They don't deserve to be treated as a person. And that's why I thank you for this safe space to be myself.
I'm going to share a poem with you today. It was written by Reverend Anna Bladell and Reverend M. Barclay. It's called A Love Poem to Queers. Queer lovers who long for healing, who ache with exhaustion, who have been alone for too long, who know deep in our bones how very good it is, how very much it hurts to keep living, to keep loving. Queer lovers, let's remember that which is strange, that which is met with disgust, that which is deemed incompatible, illegal, unworthy, is the very site of the sacred and a source of holiness. Queer lovers, we know far better than they how to live in unlivable places, how to pray in spirit-drenched ways in the midst of everyday evil, how to hold each other through impossible choices of inevitable loss. Queer lovers, there is power in staying and fighting for our lives. There is power in leaving for the sake of our lives. Through all the noise and hate and shallow misunderstandings, through all the competing voices telling us what we have to do to be, we, dear lovers, know what we need. Listen, listen, listen. Queer lovers, we are birthed from something wildly holy. We are made from and for a dream of flourishing. Crossing time and space, our ancestors labored for us to make this possible. The dykes who danced cheek to cheek, the sissies who marched arm in arm, the queers who found God in each other. In alleyways and choir lofts and quiet glances across crowded rooms, the trans godmothers with bricks in their hands and the strength of softness in their flesh. While the police raided, while the church raged, while death and destruction have their way. So too do life and love, because they know, because we know. Disconnecting from delight is deadly. Trusting in delight is a necessary spiritual practice of survival. We queer lovers make a future possible. We need each other and we have each other. We have and are enough.
I am a performer. I'm far more comfortable standing behind a pulpit or up on a stage, talking to a crowd of people than I am in a one-on-one conversation. But if that crowd of people is a social situation rather than an audience, then I am, once again, uncomfortable. At least that's the natural state of things for me. I feel like I've made a lot of progress in social situations over the years. It's just harder than writing a reflection or a homily and delivering that to all of you in this space this morning or on the stage last week at Summer Institute. I never understood the idea that public speaking is a greater fear than death. I get nervous, certainly. I worry about not quite getting it right. I continue working and revising up until the last minute. I notice as I'm reading it if I've misspelled something. And I go over it in my head when I'm done for quite a while. But when I'm right there in that moment, when I'm performing, none of that matters to me. I'm at home in that moment. Being a performer is just one part of me. It's one of the more well-developed parts because, again, in some ways it comes naturally. But also I've had a lot of practice. And when I do perform, I get a good amount of positive feedback from all of you and from the folks last week, from people I love and respect. But those same people foster the other parts of me. The artist and musician who wants to create and change the world. The friend and listener who uses the power of the silent presence to show up where love is needed. The innovator and leader who plays a part in making things happen and affecting the environment in some way. I was having a conversation with someone recently about saying no. No is a very powerful responsibility. If you always say no to everything, you never get anything done, never get anything you want. But if you never say no, then you never get what you need done, the things you want. I actually invited that person to be here this morning. They said no. I was really proud of them. It was a good conversation, and it came up a few other times during the week. And I showed up as my whole self in that conversation. I talked, I listened, I asked and answered questions. I had thoughts about this other person's situation and my own. I noticed that we both have our flaws and our triumphs. I performed my role in that moment, hopefully ultimately being that of a good friend. I felt confident. I felt joy. I felt powerful, but in that way where you recognize that the center of your power is you. I felt like me. The me that I want, that I desire to be.
My son is often mistaken for a girl. Maybe it's his long hair. Perhaps it's his lifelong love for tutus, sparkles, unicorns, and anything fancy or pretty. The assumptions people make about gender make me laugh sometimes. When asked recently, he has proudly said he is a boy, just a fabulous boy. I think that between his age, being raised in this church, and being a lifelong protest and pride attendee, he attended his first pride at just a few months old. My son has no concept of being anything less than his full gender non-conforming self anywhere he is. It both makes my heart proud and makes me dread the day the world may try to teach him differently. This year, Geauga County held its first 2 Pride events. 2! That blew my mind. Both were amazing, but little bitty Geauga County with 2 Pride events in 1 year. Both were amazing. Both were, of course, immediately met with loud opposition, especially from local conservative churches. Nasty letters were written. The first event to be held in Chardon Square was especially feared in comments I read online because, gasp, drag queens. In public view, the children. What about the children? Why do children need to see drag queens? At this point, the comments of what about the children kind of made me chuckle, knowing there are some particularly adorable photos of my son at about a year old dancing with the drag queens at Cleveland Pride. According to these vehement objectors, I am, of course, at best, a horrible parent, at worst, a child trafficker. It was the drag queens they objected to the loudest and the presence of children. Why do children need to see drag queens? They argued that all drag performance was somehow inherently sexual in nature. Once I got past my knee-jerk reaction of being very disturbed at the underlying ramifications of the idea that somehow a performance of exaggerated femininity was inherently sexual, that's a whole other conversation in itself. I actually tried to give the question some actual thought. Why do kids need to see drag queens? The best answer I could come up with at that point was why not? It's just another form of art, of performance, and nothing new for sure. I mean, I think we often forget that Shakespeare and other theater were traditionally performed entirely by men. On the day of the event, while hanging out with Halcyon at the soju table, I met a mom and a young child in this adorable little unicorn dress and colorful fingernails. I commented on the dress, saying my son would love that dress, and the child looked at me shyly and smiled. I then realized this was a fabulously non-conforming little boy like my son. His mom told me he loved anything sparkly and beautiful, and I showed her pictures of my son. It was great meeting a mom who shared parenting experiences, and I was so glad that this event was happening for them to come to. I saw them again later, as everyone sat down in a crowd to watch the drag performances. They were sitting across the way from me, and the little boy sat quietly with his mom, watching these performances that were frankly no more sexual or risque than your average kid's beauty pageant. One performer, as part of her piece, midway dramatically pulled off her wig, revealing stereotypically male hair. I glanced over at my little friend, and that child was glowing. Positively glowing. And practically jumping in his seat and pointing. This, his face said, this is a person like me. That child saw his whole self in another person in that moment. This, I said to myself, is why children need drag queens. My son and children like this little boy in a unicorn dress are why I do the work I do. I need to help create and maintain a better world for them. We all need spaces where we are free to bring our whole selves, all of who we are. All of us, for one reason or another, have experienced having to keep a part of who we are quiet or hidden, and that pain can run deep. For me, pride spaces and you young adult con culture were the first spaces in my life I really felt safe enough to be my whole authentic self. Pride, for queer and trans folk, is about celebrating the history of the LGBTQIA plus civil rights movement, but it is also an act of rebellion and protest and even healing, especially in this present moment, of choosing to be one's whole authentic self in public spaces. Ember and Jared's reflections speak to the truth that these spaces where we can be whole, whoever that is, are needed. The poem I read, A Love Poem to Queers, was read aloud in the Chardon Town Square during the event by a UCC minister. Its words speak of both the history and present struggle of the community, an embracing of its whole self, no matter how messy or uncomfortable it may make some feel. That which is strange, that which is met with disgust, that which is deemed incompatible, illegal, unworthy, is the very site of the sacred and a source of holiness. I saw tears in the face of a few elders in that crowd. And the reality is we have so few elders in our community because they have been taken away over and over. The song I asked Jared to perform, Creature, by a band called Half Alive, has become a sort of anthem for queer and trans youth and young adults on TikTok, despite, or maybe in spite, of its Christian origins. I am creation, both haunted and holy, made in glory. The lyrics proclaim, and they give me the same feeling as the poem, the message that we are enough, that our whole selves are worthy and sacred, a particularly universalist message. In the constant onslaught of political and world events, that message feels not only more and more important, but also more and more an act of protest itself. Where is your place to bring your whole self? What places in your life have you felt your most whole and accepted? What about these places were safe or brave enough to help you feel that way? And what can we do as communities and individuals to create more of these spaces? I challenge all of us today to ask someone what spaces they feel most whole in. The answers may surprise us. In honor of the sacredness of our whole selves, I'd like to do something a little different today. Would you join me? And pause to honor and bless that wholeness. Please take a deep breath, center yourself, and follow along with emotions if you are so comfortable. May you be blessed with wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. May your intellect take you far on your journey. You have been blessed with reason and free will. It is your call every day to use these gifts. May you be blessed with voice. May you learn the complex nature of truth-telling. The ability to speak the truth in love is something that requires honesty, empathy, and care. You are challenged every day to seek the joy that comes with sharing your truth compassionately, as well as listening to others. You are blessed with the gift of sexuality. May you always remember that you are a beloved child of God. Your body is sacred and belongs to you alone. May you live into the full expression of your identity as a human being, embracing your true sexual and gender identity, whatever it may be. The gift of sexuality brings with it many rewards as well as great responsibility. May you always retain power over your own being, striving towards mutually fulfilling and just relationship. When you were a baby, your tiny hands were your first contact with the world. Before you could see more than a few feet in front of your face, you grasped the figure of your loved ones. You catch yourself with your hands when you fall, and you express love and comfort to others with them too. May your hands be gentle and strong. May you use them to carry light into the darkness and rest to the weary. May your hands always find the place of greatest need, beginning with your own, and may the Creator of all things hold you in the palm of her hand wherever you go. May you be blessed on your journey. May you remember that growth happens on the journey and you are never alone. May you always remember that you are a whole person, that each of these parts work together. We offer our blessings on you today. Body, mind, and spirit. May you be guided by compassion and truth, justice and love. May you find rest on the journey. Always remembering where you come from, being mindful that your ancestors stand behind you, whether we are present on earth or have gone back to the soul of the world. May you be blessed in all things, and carry blessings with you wherever you may go.
As we ponder these questions of what it means to be our whole selves and bring our whole selves into a place, whether that be a place, a group of people, or wherever you find that, I hope that this is just such a place. And all of the people that we support and programs that we support are a part of that for you. And so I invite you now to bring into this place the financial contributions that you bring forward. We will take an offering at this point in time, and I invite you to give generously as you are able. But if this is your first time here with us, welcome into this place. And please let the collection basket pass you by as our guest.
Love is little, love is low. Love will make our spirit grow. Grow in peace, grow in light. Love will do the thing that's right. Love is little, love is low. Love is little, love is low. Love will make our spirit grow. Grow in peace, grow in light. Love will do the thing that's right. Love is little, love is low. Love is little, love is low. Love is little, love is low. Love will do the thing that's right. Love will do the thing that's right. Love will do the thing that's right.
The music went a little quicker than I thought. As a member of the Board of Trustees, I would like to thank you for your attendance today and for all the gifts you have brought with you. It is good to see so many faces in the middle of July. The gift of your presence, the gift of your care to each other, and the gift of the financial resources that you have shared with us all. Please know that those financial resources are used with diligence and care by your finance committee and your board to help sustain this caring community. Thank you for being here today.
Our words of benediction that we offer today are by Eric Williams. May the firmness of the earth be yours. May the flow of the water be yours. May the freedom of the air be yours. May the fierceness of the fire be yours. May all of the gifts of this life, the below and the above, be with you now and remain with you always. Blessed be.
I invite you to once again rise as you are willing and able. Join hands if you feel comfortable doing so with the people around you, and we will recite our bond of union. We join hands in Unitarian Universalist fellowship, pledging ourselves to an individual religious freedom which transcends all creeds, not to think alike, but to journey This flame goes out here into space. But it goes out from here in you. May we honor that responsibility. Bye, internet friends.